Mr. Dusty Slay joins us here on the program, and he is coming to the area. It's going to be at the Shubert Theater in Boston, and that is going to be on Friday, March 14th. And Dusty, thank you so much for taking the time.
All right. We're having a good time. I'm pumped to be here.
Yes, we are having a good time. Absolutely. You say that constantly through your shows. I just want to start with that. Is that just something that just came up when you started stand-up and you just kept it around?
I don't know. It really came about later. You know, I was in New York City. I was doing some shows, and kind of the wave joke and the we're having a good time joke just kind of all started about the same time. You know, just I'm doing shows. They're not going exactly the way I want them to go. I'm doing a little wave. I'm saying we're having a good time. Letting the audience know that, hey, even if you don't think this is going well, everything's fine. Yeah. I'm okay. Don't worry about me.
I love that, man. I think that's great. And I'm glad. I love it how you acknowledge it like that, and you kind of explain it to audiences. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, people message me all the time, and they go, "Oh, we saw your show. It was really great." And we said we felt like throughout the show you were acting like it wasn't going well. You were acting like your jokes weren't landing. I'm like, that's my whole comedy. My whole comedy is to, really act like it's not going as well, and I think that's fun.
Well, I mean, there must have been times it wasn't going as well. Did anybody ever respond to a time when you said, okay, we're all having a good time? Was somebody out there going, I don't think so?
Well, that's the reason why you don't ask. You don't say, you don't go, are you guys having a good time? Are you guys having fun? You just tell them, we're having a good time. And if they say, no, we're not, you just go, yeah, you are. Just take it easy.
Awesome. Awesome.
You don't even know what fun is. You are having fun. That's what this is. This is what fun feels like.
Right. If they're asking, then you're absolutely right. They have no idea what fun is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in your Netflix special, Working Man, we have something in common, and that is smoking. And I love and I miss smoking, and it's been 20 years since I had a cigarette. And how long has it been for you?
It's been, 13 years.
Wow. Okay. And then,
but I'm like on the Uncle Buck plan. I'm on the cigars now. You know what I mean? So it's. You know what? I gave up everything for a whole year, and then I got into cigars, and I like them, and I feel like you don't inhale. So I just feel like it's, as long as you do outdoor cigars, it's harder for you because it's colder. In Tennessee, it's warm most of the year, so you can smoke outside. Right. That's where it's at.
I quit, and maybe in that special, you kind of say the reason you quit was you were having a baby, and I quit for that reason. My wife called me at work and said, I'm pregnant. I went, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm coming right home. And I went straight to the convenience store and bought a pack of Marlboro Reds and just lit one up as I was driving out. And then I realized, like halfway through, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. She's pregnant. Yeah. She can't be inhaling smoke. The baby can't be inhaling smoke. So I threw the cigarette out the window, and then I grabbed the pack from my pocket and I threw it out the window, but unconsciously I didn't let it go. It was like it took a couple of tries, and then I just tossed. I finally got the whole package out the window, and that was the last time I smoked. That was like 20-something years ago. And
you just gave it up like that, huh?
Yeah, and I tried before to give it up several times, weaning myself off, the patch, the gum, all that stuff. None of it worked. It took my wife getting pregnant and the gravity of the situation, but I miss it every day. I crave a cigarette still at least once a day. I don't know if you go through that same thing.
It's a powerful stranglehold, and that's why I like cigars. This is my thing. I don't know if I'm able to just talk about this on the radio.
Yeah, you can.
This is why I like it. I just feel like that cigarettes cheapen the whole tobacco experience. I like it. I like tobacco. I think a cigar, it's light. You don't inhale. You're having a good time. You're feeling it. And I'm not trying to tell you to get back into it. It's probably better to not do it. But don't vape. Don't dip. If you're going to do it, cigars or pipe, that's the way to go. and you just relax at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Not every day, but a lot of days you just relax, and people tell me all the time, they go, oh, I love the smell of cigars. It reminds me of my grandfather. Somewhere along the way, I feel like we got this thing that our kids can't be around it. And I don't smoke in front of my kids, but I'm just saying they can handle it.
Yeah.
I don't mean smoke in the room with them. Don't make them breathe it, but I don't know. I just feel like people act like a cigarette is just like you just shot a guy at a store or something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, smokers are a target out there, and
we're like
it's like some of the airports, they put them in that area that's all glassed in, and you can just walk by and look at them like there's some kind of medical experiment.
Yeah, I was in Lafayette, Louisiana at the airport, and they had a patio out there. I mean, they were almost supporting it. They were like, get a drink, go out there, have a cigarette. I was like, Lafayette, Louisiana gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Louisiana, I mean, it's almost, it's ultimate freedom down there. You can get a drink in the car and ride around and smoke. I mean, they love it.
Well, I lived in Richmond, Virginia for a little while. We had the Philip Morris plant like 3 miles down the road. And if the wind was blowing the right way, when I stepped out of the house in the morning to go to work, I could smell fresh smokes. And I would just immediately get triggered. It was a beautiful thing. I really do, especially in those down times, I miss it when I've 30 minutes to kill. I just wish I could smoke a cigarette, but
it's also a nostalgia thing, I think. You used to go into a restaurant and they would be smoking in there. And I don't know that I want to go back to that time, but I feel like when everybody was smoking all the time, then it just wasn't as big of a deal. You go into a McDonald's and there's people smoking in there, and just everywhere you go, people are smoking. And I just kind of miss that. Like it felt like I think people are, I don't know, maybe they're healthier. But I feel like it's old school America where people are just out here smoking,
Well, I quit smoking.
I loved it.
I quit smoking, like I said, because I was expecting a baby. Plus, I wanted to get healthier to be around for my kid. But the problem there is I quit smoking cigarettes and I replaced it with eating like pounds and pounds of lasagna. So, I mean, it's a delicate balance, I guess.
My uncle used to smoke all the time, and his doctor told him, you got to quit smoking. So he quit smoking, and then he gained a bunch of weight. And he went back to the doctor. The doctor was like, you got to lose weight. And my uncle was like, well, I'm either going to gain weight or I'm going to smoke. It's got to be one of the two. And his doctor told him he would rather him smoke than gain the weight.
Well, my stepfather's a doctor, and he collects old-time cigarette ads that actually, like there's a Camel ad he has framed that says 4 out of 5 doctors agree Camels are the healthiest cigarette. So, maybe that's something that, we don't learn because we don't go to medical school, but maybe they have knowledge of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it says the healthiest cigarette. It doesn't say cigarettes are healthy, right?
Right. Yeah, okay. Yep. It's semantics.
It's like, hey, if you're going to smoke, make it a Camel,
That's right. You also talk about the various jobs you have. In fact, your tour is called it's called the Night Shift, right?
Yeah.
The Night Shift tour. And you're always talking about working guy.
Yeah, I mean, I used to sell pesticides. I worked to Lowe's and Home Depot. I sold pesticides for almost 10 years. I used to wait tables. I worked at a seafood restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina, a seafood restaurant called Hyman's, which is located on the same block as a restaurant called Sticky Fingers. And it's owned by a family with the last name Hyman. And they asked with this table one time, they go, oh, are you one of the Hymans? And I was like, yeah, because they named me Dusty Hyman,
man.
I've been working. I've done a lot of restaurant jobs. I used to work at a restaurant called Jim Bob's Chicken Fingers, and it's a great spot. I quit that job. I came in and I don't know. I was a sauce guy working my way up to dishwasher, and I came in one day and the dishwasher had not shown up, so I was going to be making sauce and washing dishes. So I was like, well, let me just go ahead and go on break. And then I never came back.
Oh, my God.
I don't need 2 jobs. You know what I mean?
Right. Let me ask you this. As someone who has worked in a lot of restaurants and as someone who has sold pesticides for 10 years. Did you ever come across any chemicals that were both used in the pesticides and maybe used in preparing the food in any of these restaurants?
Oh, I don't know if I don't think there was any preparing the food. Well, I don't know. I mean, these days, if you get down into the chemical and you find certain ingredients, I mean, they say glyphosate is in all our food now, which is a weed killer. But, some restaurants would have the insect strips that I would sell, where they catch the insects, like flies and stuff. You might see some of those.
Yeah. But never.
But I don't know that they were using it in the product.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be pretty wild.
That's encouraging. Getting that from an expert right there. Also, we mentioned your gig.
And that's what I am, an expert.
Yeah, you are. I mean, 10 years in pesticide sales and probably equally as long working in restaurants. I'd call you an expert. I'd quote you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, Dusty Slice says, unless you get deep down into the ingredients, they don't use pesticides to cook with.
Yeah, that's going to be the headline of this when I post this right there.
That'll be controversial, I bet.
We mentioned your gig at the Shubert Theater in Boston, March 14th, and you must have played Boston several times. It's a great comedy city, so you must have been here a bunch of times already.
You know what? Only one time.
Oh,
I
really?
did a comedy club called Laugh Boston in
yeah.
probably 2019. I did not sell very well,
Really?
but the shows were fun. Yeah, I mean, it was years ago. Now I have a Netflix special out, and
Right.
I have some other accolades now, so I think this time will be better sales. But I'm pumped about it. I mean, I liked it. I didn't get to see a lot, but I walked to a Whole Foods, and I think I walked through like a Chinatown area, which
Yes.
I really enjoyed.
Yes.
There were a lot of old Asian men playing chess, and I just really enjoyed it. I love seeing that. When I was growing up, a lot of the old men used to hang out at this old store and play checkers, and I'd not seen that in a long time, and I love seeing it.
You didn't have a Chinatown section in the trailer park you grew up in?
Well, you know what, though? I actually grew up in my trailer park. There was a lot of Laotian people there. So there was a lot of Asian people there.
There you go.
They weren't Chinese, but they were Asian.
Yeah.
And I grew up with a lot of Laotian. I had a lot of Laotian friends. Now, I don't recall anyone sitting out playing chess, but we did play, football and ride bikes. And they had a chow. You remember that dog, the Chow, the menace of the 90s?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that thing was wild, man.
Yeah. I had a neighbor who had one of those, and we lived in a park next to the city park in Richmond, Virginia, and he lived upstairs. And this chow was so big and so mean, he didn't even use a leash. He would drag it into his truck and drive a block up to the park, and there was a road that went around the park, and he let the dog out and drove around the park in his truck, and the dog would basically just chase him and then stop and pee every night. That's how he would walk the dog every time.
Wow.
And yeah, I was afraid of it. I agree.
Yeah, those dogs were extreme.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. You also have done several gigs at the legendary Grand Ole Opry. That must have been really exciting as a Tennessean, and I know you're a fan of country music. It must have been pretty amazing to hit that stage for the first time.
It's the best. I've done it almost 30 times now. No,
Wow.
I've actually done it over 30 times, and it's exciting every time. I mean, it's so fun.
What do you think
What
do you think the biggest difference between an Opry crowd and a Boston crowd is?
Well, I've not been to Boston enough to know, but an Opry crowd, it's going to be a little bit of an older crowd. And they're just there to see country music. They may not even know that I'm coming up to do comedy. In fact, I don't even know that they know I'm there to do comedy until I tell my first joke. They think I'm just an a cappella singer, maybe. And but I love it. I mean, because you really test it. You go, are these jokes good? I mean, can I do these jokes on the Tonight Show and then at the Grand Ole Opry and then at some hipster comedy room in the city? And I got some jokes that would only work in each place, but a lot of my jokes transcend
Yeah,
time and age.
I'm not trying to disrespect you when I say this, but they may have thought you were Shooter Jennings. You kind of look like him a little bit.
They could.
Yeah.
Some people say Billy Ray Cyrus. I get Walmart Billy Ray sometimes.
And Billy Ray. Oh.
I get, and I go, I didn't know you could get more Walmart than Billy Ray Cyrus. But
right. All right. Well, Dusty Slade, great talking to you, man. You're awesome. Coming to the Shubert Theater here in Boston, March 14th. Looking forward to that show, man. Thank you very much for your time again.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
All right, man. Hey, thanks a lot, Dusty.
All right. Yeah, thank you.